Hello, this is Professor Braathe, and I'm here today to share with you some insights from questions that came in from students about a variety of topics related to entrepreneurship. So let's take a look at the questions that came in from my class, and we'll go through a couple of them today. So let's, as you see, I solicited some questions in a variety of areas. So we'll touch on a few today, and in the next part of our series, we'll take a look at a few more. So we'll start off with this one. I'm interested in learning how to keep products profitable, but cheap enough to stay above water in a competitive market. So I think one of the things here that is to keep in mind is you really want to look at reducing your fixed costs and your variable costs to start off. So where possible, how can you make your products at scale without keeping a ton of inventory going? And at the same time, take a good competitive analysis of what's going on in the world of your products and see what the competitors are charging to see the best way to move forward from there. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. They either charge too much or too little, and they end up going broke as a result of it. I'm interested in learning about how to promote products, business or products in the best way. So this is a marketing topic. I think there's really no best way for a particular business to promote. You've got to see what works for you. In my line of business, because it's very service oriented, it's really geared towards LinkedIn and blogging and really some word of mouth marketing. So those methods tend to work for me, but you got to see what your competitors are doing and not necessarily replicate what they're doing, but find a way to create some conversations with the audience where they are at that time. Human resources. I want to learn about what makes an employee a good option and what should go into the screening process. Well, sometimes an employee isn't the best option right away. You might want to look at a contractor or a freelancer, but some things you might want to keep in mind are a lot of behavioral based questions, and ask people questions like, tell me about a time you would do this, or how would you handle this type of situation? And running them through a vetting process. In my company, we have two different levels of interview. We have the screening interview that's usually done by one of my HR team. And then if the HR team sees that person as an 8 or 9 or 10 in terms of skills and abilities, they'll go ahead and bring that person to the second round of interview. Here's another question. I want to understand more about networking and how it works. Networking is something you should be doing on a regular basis. I challenge people to try to meet 3 people every day of their life. And that doesn't mean you have to meet them in person. It could be a new connection on LinkedIn. It could be meeting a couple people at a networking event. It could be running into somebody and having a conversation. But if you do that on average, 3 a day, you're going to meet 1,000 people a year. And just think about that. If you're 20 years into a career and you've met 20,000 people, I think you're pretty much not necessarily set for life, but it's a good ratio to follow. Moving along on the list, something you'd like to learn more about is money and the credit markets, dealing with securities markets and financial institutions. I highly recommend you download the the Stash app, which is a great way to see individual stocks. It's a great way to also start investing if you want to start with a basic amount of money. So those are some things you might want to take a look at to get your feet wet. I'm also a big believer in the website Market Watch, which is a great website to be able to see what's going on in the markets and understand interest rates and when and what to invest in. We have a question about real estate and curiosity there from the standpoint of how to market in the world of real estate. And it's a jungle out there. There are so many different people that are involved in real estate. And at this time, there's probably more real estate agents and brokers combined than there are homes available. So with real estate, you really have to develop some long-term relationships, get in with people before they're even thinking about buying a home. So when your conversation comes up, your name comes up in conversation, or real estate does, they think of you first and foremost. How do you make people want to work for your business? That's a big thing to overcome. I think a lot of times with getting people to want to work for your business, it's not just about the pay. They want to work for a leader who's respectful, a leadership team that can understand them, and they want flexibility. It really disheartens me that a lot of companies have just, without maybe a lot of data points, gone back to total work from home environment, total work from the office environment, rather than a work from home. And they're not even entertaining the idea of a hybrid solution. Continuing on the topic of networking, can you start networking before you're fully established? Go right ahead. It doesn't hurt. I told my nephew to get started on his LinkedIn when he was about 11 years old. And we set up the profile. Now, finally, at 21, he's getting around to using it, but he's got some job offers now, which is very important. So we'll go through one more row here, and then in about a week, I'll probably share another episode with similar. We'll go through these questions again, probably numbers 4 through 6 in the list. This one again, talking about investments. I think a great way to learn even more about investments is to set up and maybe participate in a mock stock account. Use Google Finance. You can set up a portfolio to monitor things without even spending any money and see how it performs over time. I also suggest you do a mix of entertainment. I wouldn't even call it entertainment-based finance shows, because Jim Cramer has some great insights, but you have somebody that's a little bit eccentric like that, and maybe watch some more traditional programming. One of my favorite persons from the investment point of view is Cody Sanchez. She has a great Instagram reel going on a regular basis. How the market works for the tourism industry specifically, and how to be a good competitor in the industry. You want to have co-opetition rather than competition. So what that means is you want to get along. There's plenty of money to go around. And if you're a good partner in the community, you can get along with your competitors. I remember when I was in the hotel business years ago, we had about 30 hotels in this one area, and we would refer business all the time, because some nights they were full, and some nights we were full and they were full, and we'd even find more partners to partner with. So the more you get along with other industry partners, the better off you're going to be. How to make that work environment the best it can be to help keep employees happy. You got to constantly probe people and not just do an annual survey. I think finding and getting a pulse on the group you're working with on a regular basis, just having some random conversations from time to time can be valuable. So somebody took an interesting take on this networking. They thought it meant tech networking, but it's you want to use software as a service, whether it be networking in person or trying to find a way to enable people to work together. And that's why pretty much every tool I use at my company is really around shared information. And many organizations are using for more advanced tools, are using Amazon Web Services and online tools to make sure that their business is staying on top of things. And it's always good to have backups. I know in my world of IT, I use a Backblaze to keep my networked files and details up and running. So that may be something you want to think about. So I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll revisit the next series of topics on the next recording. Have a great day.